Let's talk about what it looks like to make the most money from the items that you get in raid. This will factor in somewhat what you pick up in raid and what you should be valuing in raid, choosing to actually put in your bag versus what not. But it will mainly focus on how to sell them and how to maximize your profit when you are out of raid, because I feel like that's something people don't always know how to do. So very first thing I want to do is I want to talk about who you should be selling what to, because this is something that I'm always surprised that people don't know. I'm always surprised when someone's like, oh, yeah, I've been playing for 1,000 hours. Is there like, I just sell my Bitcoins to proper, I just sell yada yada, so on and so forth. So here is what we're going to do. We're going to go over to our traders, and we're going to start with proper. Proper is basically a no-go overall. There's almost nothing that you want to ever sell to proper. One of the few examples I can think of what you might want to sell to proper is grenades. So let's say you have a bunch of non-founded raid F1s or Zaryas, and you're like, I don't know what to do with these. You can sell them to proper. It's not going to be great value, but no one else really takes nades. Now we move to Therapist. Therapist is an extremely, extremely important person in regards to who you should sell to. She takes a lot of things at best price, and we're going to walk through a couple of them right now. I'm going to give you a couple examples. We're going to pull to a little section right now. I apologize for my dirty stash. I should have made it a little bit prettier. We're going to pull a couple things down to show you guys what you want to sell to her. So we're going to use these as our examples right now. So you have, I typically call these like gold items or like rare items that include streamer items, gold chains, ravens, things like that. You've seen them in those. You all want to sell to Therapist. They almost never going to go for more cost on the flea market. If they do seem like they, right now it's 28 to sell this Summit 1G phone. If it's 30K in the flea market, you'd be like, oh, that's better. Not technically, because your posting fee is going to be worse. So let's take a look on flea market right now. 28K, it's the same value. You should just sell it to Therapist. There's no point. It's a good thing to sell on flea market and get your flea market rep up. But honestly, if we're talking just profit, sell to Therapist. So we're going to sell this. The Tetris falls in the same category. Defib's another great example. Sometimes they're 160K in the market, but the posting fee is 10K, 15K. It's not going to be really worth it. So we're going to sell these. Keys are a good example. If we look at 104 key, this is a quest key. It's a key that has a safe in it. It has a med box, and it also has a computer. So it's not a bad key at all. She'll take it for 11K. She's the best person to sell keys to. But let's take a look on the flea market, 12K. Early wipe is going to be different. This key is probably 150K early wipe. When people are trying to get the quest, the Tarbank quest done, you have to go and pull that Tarbank suitcase off the top of the safe and extract with it. This key is often 60, 100, 150K. But right now, latent wipe, it's worth it just to sell her the key as well. And then the stims work the same exact way. Always sell your stims to Therapist. You technically can sell them to Jaeger, I believe, as well, at the same price. But I usually just sell to Therapist. However, some stims are worth a lot more than she'll take on market value. Morphine, adrenaline, and sometimes Propital, you're just going to straight up sell to Therapist. Go to Therapist. You scroll down. It's at 21. We're going to look and see how much they are. 40K. The posting fee is only going to be like 4K, 6K. You can double check what it is. We don't want to sell this to Therapist. We want to sell this on market. So, stims, gold items, or like the rare items that are a good value, Tetrises, things like that, roosters, and keys are really big priorities to sell to Therapist. Fence is very simple. Fence is the guy you sell to when you can't sell it to anybody else. If no one else will take it, if it's badly damaged, whatever it is, you want to sell to Fence. So again, very, very, very simple. A great example of what you can do too is if you ever have a gun that is on its lowest edge, it's down at 60 or 50 and nobody will take it, you can also strip that gun. You can click disassemble, and the only thing you'll have to sell to Fence is the actual upper receiver that makes the gun the gun. Skier is a lot like Mechanic. You're going to sell mod parts to Skier. Overall, though, I would say, Chad, overall, I would suggest selling to Mechanic for that. Peacekeeper is the guy that you sell to get US dollar. There's certain items that are rare items. A good example is like the Slim Diary and the Diary, SSDs, SAS drives, things like that he will take for a higher value than selling on flea market and no other trader will take. I would say out of all the things I can see right now, this 556 is one of the best examples of he's going to take this mod part at a pretty decent value. But we don't have like a Slim Diary or like anything like that to sell at the moment. So we're just going to do this as an example. We're going to sell this to Peacekeeper. But he's the guy you get US dollars when you sell to. So he's nice to, if you're not sure what to do with some junk, you got some of these relays or something lying around that are not found in raid, sell into Peacekeeper, get your US dollars up. All right. Mechanic is the guy you want to sell guns and gun parts to most of the time. I'd say 90% of the time, 95% of the time. Every now and then, Skier is going to take something for a little bit better, right? A little bit of a better price. But overall, you want to sell to Mechanic. There are only 2 gun types you don't sell to Mechanic. We'll talk about that in a sec here. Ragman. Ragman is very clear cut. There's very few people that will take clothing and armor besides Ragman. Every now and then, there's like little things someone will take, but majority of the time, you should sell your face mask, you should sell your gears, your helmet, anything like that to Ragman. Always double check if it's found in raid, whether or not it'll go for significantly more on market. But most of the time, something like this, this AACHHC is going to go for best price to Ragman, and it's just clean and easy sells. Helmets are usually somewhere between 30 to 60K. Jaeger's a lot like Therapist. He'll take food, he'll take stims, and that's kind of his main thing. But one of the things that Jaeger does, and people don't know this, is Jaeger will take snipers, and he will take shotguns for more than Mechanic will. Those are the only 2 gun types you don't want to sell to Mechanic if you're trying to maximize profit. You want to sell to Jaeger. He'll take, shotguns and snipers. Not DMRs. DMRs are different. You want to specifically sell sniper guns, anything that falls into the bolt action category, anything that falls into the shotgun category. Those will go to Jaeger for the best. Again, if at any point you have a shotgun that is modded out and it's down at low durability and you can't sell it, your best bet is probably to strip the shotgun and sell those parts to Mechanic and sell the broken receiver to Fence. But if you have a fully functioning shotgun you're just trying to sell, this is your guy. So that's just a clean little marker on who you should go to for traders. The last thing I want to talk about with that actually is cases. Most of the time, Therapist is going to take them for the best value, and we can double check this right now. So Therapist, 250K. Jaeger will take it for 230, so a little less. But that's just cases. Cases are usually best sold on the market. They're going to make way more, but if you're just looking to get rid of one and sell it on the market, you can do that. The last thing I want to talk about is selling correctly on the flea market. This will take a little less time. It's very, very simple. This will affect what you pick up in raid as well. So we're going to look at what we brought home on this run, and we're going to have a couple good examples. So when you are looting, if you're trying to maximize your profit, a lot of people make the mistake of picking big items. PSU, 40, 50K, that seems like a good chunk of money. If we break it down to per slot, 40K in 4 is 10K. The general value that I try and shoot for is 12K per space, right? So Knackle, let's look at Knackle. Knackle's a great option. It's usually somewhere between 17 to 25K per slot. It's great to sell in bunches, and the posting fee is really, really low. Items like this, saline, blood sets, relays, let's think, green batteries, sometimes spark plugs early game. Items in that kind of realm, med tools that are somewhere above 11, 12K, and if they're higher than that, you should always be looking to sell in flea market. You can double check their pricing, right? So like a great example is the Helix. Let's see what our Helix is running for right now. Helix is running for 25K. This is not always the case. Sometimes they're going to be lower. Sometimes they're going to be 8K, 9K, 10K, maybe 11 or 12. Now that meets the value we were talking about, right? 11 or 12K. But the posting fee is probably about 2K each. And if you're not selling a lot of them, that might not be worth it. So it takes a little more time. You might not want to have to go through a little process. But if you're ever trying to really determine, if you look at something and you think therapists will take it for a pretty decent price, you're like, oh, 10K is not bad. Always just give it a quick double check on market to see what it's at. 25K, much better to sell your Helixes on market at this point. But if it's 12K, 11K, you might just want to sell it to therapists that way so there's no posting fee. That's a pretty simple way to put it. Obviously, there are some items you want to pick up that are bigger. If you see a lion's 120K in straight sell value to therapist, that breaks down to 20K per slot. That's a great pickup. But if you've got several items that are 30, 40K each, that lion might not worth be picking up. So think more in terms of the space of the item or the value of the item per slot rather than the whole breakdown of like, that's 120K for one item. You got to think about the space. That is why Letixes are so incredible, is because they're literally one space, and they're usually 800,000 to 1.2 million. If you ever watch people play that are good players, that are just selling to traders, keep in mind those are very good players that probably don't struggle to make money, rather than try and take the time to type in every number and go through Flea Market. Landmark comes to mind with that. You'll see him just mass sell all of his items. Outside of a few rare ones like Letix's, he rarely posts anything on Flea. He's usually just going to sell it all to traders because there's no point for him to take that time. I would wager any of those streamers that you ask, if you're in their chat or anything like that, will basically say to you, you should definitely be using Flea Market if you're trying to make money. The last thing I want to say with this is all just information for maximizing profit, getting better at distributing your value to the right people, and just making more money. You do not have to do any of these things. There's no wrong way to play Tarkov. If you just want to sell everything to a trader, you want to sell it to the wrong trader, you want to sell everything on Flea Market and get your Flea Market rep up, that's understandable. It's completely fine. You don't have to abide by these rules. But if you're looking to make more money and maximize the amount that you get back, and you don't mind spending a little more time doing inventory management, this is a fantastic way just to make, anywhere between, it could be as much as 500K, a mil more on a raid if you're selling the right way. Could be as little as 200K or 50K. But in some of those situations, right, it can really maximize the profit that you're bringing in.